Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Mackenzie, a 5th grade teacher in Northern California. If you're new here, I upload new teacher tips every week, so please be sure to subscribe to my channel and give this video a thumbs up so it can reach even more teachers. In today's video, I'm going to walk you through the process of a virtual classroom transformation. In a regular classroom setting, classroom transformations are when we completely change our classroom setup and plan activities with a specific theme for a fun new learning experience for our students. Sometimes that means changing our classroom into a bakery for a fun fraction lesson, or changing our classroom to go along with a book that we're reading in class together. Today I want to show you how you can still plan these classroom transformations virtually, so let's get started. Now you can definitely adapt any of the ideas that I'm sharing today to whatever theme you want to use for your classroom transformation. For today, I'm going to be using Harry Potter as my example to plan out a classroom transformation that will be happening on the day we read the last chapter of the book together. So I will be walking you through 5 steps to plan your classroom transformation: digital invites, costume and props, virtual effects and backgrounds, extension activities, and ending on a fun note with a virtual field trip. So let's start with our digital invites. Sending out digital invites is a really fun way to get your students excited about that special day when the classroom transformation is going to happen. So since we're using Harry Potter as the example, if we were in the classroom, I would normally send out Hogwarts letters, but in this case, I was thinking, well, we are virtual, so I might as well just send it out in an email. When my students open their email, this is what it's going to look like. They'll click the picture and then it's going to open their invitation. So I made it look just like the Hogwarts letter. The only thing I will change for each student is who it's addressed to.
Dear Ms. Mackenzie, we are pleased to inform you that you have been accepted at Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry. All necessary books and equipment can be purchased in Diagon Alley. Term begins on March 8th. We await your owl no later than March 7th. If arriving via Zoom, please make your way to King's Cross Station and platform 9 3/4. Train departs at 9 o'clock sharp. First year students will require robes, pajamas, or blankets, 1 wand, 1 stuffed animal. Due to our outpost owls being chased by cats, we are now delivering the letters through Muggle email. Yours sincerely, Minerva McGonagall.
I included the date that our classroom transformation is going to be happening. I also included what supplies they need. In this case, it's going to be a pajama day, or they can get as much into character as they want that day. I created all of this on Google Slides with a stop motion animation effect. I just added a little more to each slide as I went, so it looks like the letter is opening and the words are appearing magically. So to make the words actually appear one by one, I had to add 1 word at a time to each slide. This really didn't take too much time. I do recommend writing your whole letter first and then just copy and paste that slide and then slowly delete each word or letter as you go. Now to share it with students, click File, then Publish to Web. Change it to every 1 second and you can have it restart the slideshow automatically, and then you're going to copy that link. This will make the invitation show up automatically in present mode for your students. You can change where it says 1000 to make it go a little faster. So I changed it to 300 and that just speeds up the invitation a bit when my students are watching it. Now I inserted a picture of the letter into the email for my students, highlighted the image, and then inserted that link. Now my students will open the email, they'll just click that letter, and then it's going to take them to their digital invitation. Dressing up is definitely part of the fun with these classroom transformations, especially being virtual. I know the dress up theme days that we've had this year have really been some of the best memories my students have had, and so making this a dress up day for your students too during the virtual classroom transformations can really add to that experience together. When it comes to costumes and props for these classroom transformations, please don't feel like you need to go out and spend your own money. Definitely look to see what you already have, ask other teachers to see if there's things you can borrow, or get creative and make things out of paper and other materials that are available to you. So since this is Harry Potter theme, I need my wand, my robe, my scarf, and I'm going to need my coffee. So I do want to thank fun.com for sending me all of these items for my classroom transformation. If you are interested in any of these items, I will link them down in the description box. So for my students that day, they can get as much into character as they like, or they can just wear their pajamas or wear their own Snuggie if they want to. I also told them they can bring a stuffed animal or just have their pet since they are at home after all. My students will also have their own wand, which will be a pencil or a stick, really anything. Also doing classroom transformations, I really like collecting things over the years. You don't need to have everything everything all at once because you can always reuse these items for years to come. I know that I'm definitely going to be wearing this Snuggie for every pajama day here on out. So now that we have our costumes and our props, we are going to talk a little bit about virtual backgrounds and effects. So if you are using Zoom or Google Meet, definitely take advantage of using those virtual backgrounds. So on the day of our Harry Potter day, when we read the last chapter together, I'm just going to show you exactly what my students are going to see as they enter our Zoom call. So when my students enter our Zoom call, they are not even going to see me. I'm going to have my camera off and they are just going to see this Hogwarts Express countdown. I'm going to be playing the Harry Potter theme song to get them excited. And then once it is 9 o'clock, they're going to see this video of the Hogwarts Express arriving, and that is going to welcome them to Hogwarts. Now at this point, I'm going to turn my camera on and I am full on acting here. No more Miss Mackenzie. I am now going to be Professor Mac or Mackay Moody. Haven't decided yet. I will then welcome them into Hogwarts and we will be reading the last chapter of our book together. Now, as I am reading the last chapter, they are actually going to be fully immersed into the story. So I'm going to show you how I'm doing that with my Google Slides. So I'm going to be using Google Slides as a background. Now I put together a Google Slide presentation with different scenes from the last chapter, and then I downloaded it onto my desktop. And then when I am on the Zoom call, I'm going to click Share Screen, go to the advanced settings to share the slides as a virtual background. Now it looks like I'm actually in the story as I'm reading, and I can click through the different slides as I read through the pages. This makes it look like I'm actually in that story. It just adds that magical touch, especially reading a book about magic. No matter what book you are reading with your students or whatever your theme is, if you're using a story to go along with it, this is a really fun way to really jump into the story and make that reading experience that much more engaging and exciting for your students. The other option would be to use a virtual background. When I'm not reading a story with them, I am going to be having different Harry Potter virtual backgrounds throughout the day as we go through the different activities for our classroom transformation. The day before our classroom transformation, I'm also going to go over with my students how they can set their own virtual backgrounds if they want to join in the fun that way too. There are also face filters, which can be really fun to have your students use them that day since it is a special day. Right now, since my theme is Harry Potter, there weren't really any face filters that would go along with it, but maybe if you were reading Charlotte's Web, there are like pig ears. You could have all of your students look like Wilbur, or if you're doing maybe a bakery lesson, you could have those little chef hats if you're doing a fun fraction lesson. Those are extra little touches to make that classroom transformation just that much more special. So the next step is to plan out some extension activities that go along with your theme. So you might want to do a digital escape room. You can have text prepared that go along with your theme. There are so many different ways you could go about this. I have planned out a Hogwarts training for my students, which is really like a digital escape room that I have planned. I do have a video that walks you through the steps on how to put together a digital escape room using a Google form if you want to check that video out. Since we just finished reading a book together, this time they are going to be focusing on different reading skills. So there will be 7 different challenges that they will need to complete with their team. Before we begin, we will have a little sorting hat ceremony where students are going to be placed into one of the Hogwarts houses, and that's going to be their team name for this escape room. Then they're going to work together to complete each challenge in their breakout rooms on the Zoom call. Challenge 1 will be the sorting hat where they read the poem and analyze character traits. Challenge 2 will be the owlery, which will be a nonfiction read about snowy owls. Challenge 3 will be Ollivanders, where they need to test their knowledge about spells and Latin roots. Challenge 4, I decided to throw in a math word problem while they're at Gringotts the bank. Challenge 5 is Hogwarts figurative language, where they are matching quotes from the book to the correct literary device. Challenge 6, they need to find their way out of the Forbidden Forest maze by recalling key events from the story. And finally, Challenge 7, they will save the Sorcerer's Stone with the logic puzzle from the book. This is going to be a competition, so whatever team finishes first is going to be announced at the end of the day, and they will be declared the team winners, or in this case, since it is Harry Potter, the house winner. Since it was also a Hogwarts training, then all of my students will also receive a certificate that says that they have completed the wizard training. Now to end the day virtually together, we are going to do a YouTube theme park field trip. So on YouTube, you can just type into the search bar any roller coaster you can think of and add point of view, and then you can play those rides and pretend you are riding that roller coaster with your students. So in this case, since we're Harry Potter themed, we are going to Universal Studios Orlando. To plan the trip, I go to the theme park website. I just downloaded one of the theme park maps that I saw. I took a screenshot of the map and just inserted it into the Google slide. I then marked the different Harry Potter rides that we're going to go on with the drawing tool. Now I know exactly where to click when I am presenting this to my students on Zoom. I can then insert the links to the YouTube videos for each of the rides. That way they're all ready to go on the field trip for my students. So since we're at the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, I'm just going to insert all the links to the rides onto the map, and after each ride, revisit the map. Now use your acting skills, your students will appreciate it. Put your hands up, move with the roller coaster, pretend you're at that theme park with your students. Now I know when you are planning your classroom transformation, you might not be reading Harry Potter. I do have a video where I share different virtual field trips that you can take your students on, so I will link that down in the description box. This is a fun way to end that virtual classroom transformation together with your class. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this video inspired you with some ideas on how you can still do these classroom transformations virtually. If you did find this video helpful, just a quick reminder to click that thumbs up button, and please consider subscribing for all my newest teacher tips, and I hope to see you again next week.